When you really zoom out, this moment was never about a joke. It was about perspective. When Shedeur Sanders sat there and gave that calm smile, it wasn't arrogance. It was awareness. He understands something a lot of players are still learning. The modern NFL isn't just about contracts. It's about leverage. And leverage is built long before Sunday kickoff. The irony? The same player who was labeled just a fifth-round pick is outpacing first-rounders in visibility, influence, and commercial demand. That doesn't happen by accident. That happens because the brand was built before the draft call ever came in. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, his last name. Being the son of Deion Sanders has always been a double-edged sword. Some people respect it, others resent it. That pressure has followed Shedeur since Jackson State, through Colorado, and now into the NFL. So when someone throws the word broke into the air, it doesn't just sound wrong. It sounds uninformed. Because the reality is this. In today's NFL, brand equity can outpace base salary. Influence can outpace draft position. Ownership can outpace endorsements. And Shedeur is playing chess while others are still arguing about checkers. Meanwhile, moments like this also shine a light on the bigger NFL ecosystem. The pressure cooker of personalities, egos, and media narratives. Whether it's a rising star like Shedeur or outspoken veterans like Micah Parsons stirring conversations, the league thrives on tension. But here's what separates long-term power from short-term noise. Control. Shedeur didn't argue. He didn't expose numbers. He didn't escalate. He let the market speak. And markets don't lie. If his on-field performance matches even half of his off-field positioning, the ceiling isn't just Pro Bowls or playoff runs. It's ownership conversations, investment boards, and long-term empire building while still in uniform. That's rare air. So the real question isn't whether he's broke. The real question is, how many players his age are thinking this far ahead? Because the scoreboard isn't just measured in touchdowns anymore. It's measured in equity. It's measured in leverage. It's measured in how you move when the cameras are rolling and the room gets quiet. And in that moment, Shedeur Sanders looked like someone who already knows how the game really works. And here's where the story shifts. Becuse, what happened in that room wasn't just a viral clip. It was a preview. A preview of how narratives are built and how they're destroyed. The NFL has always loved doubting quarterbacks before they prove it on Sundays. But when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, the scrutiny feels amplified. Not just because of performance expectations, but because of who he is and who he represents. From Jackson State to Colorado under Deion Sanders, everything about his journey has been public, debated, dissected. Some called it hype. Some called it favoritism. Others said he benefited from prime spotlight. But here's what critics consistently overlook. Spotlight doesn't create poise. Pressure doesn't manufacture discipline. And cameras don't build business instincts. Those are learned, sharpened, earned. That calm smile during the broke comment wasn't accidental. It was the result of years living under scrutiny. Years of hearing that he was overrated. Years of being told draft position equals destiny. But the modern NFL doesn't operate on old rules anymore. Today players are brands. Brands are businesses. And businesses are built on leverage. While some rookies enter the league trying to prove they belong, Shedeur entered already understanding the ecosystem. Nil deals changed college athletics. Social media changed influence. Ownership conversations changed athlete power dynamics. He studied it. He positioned himself early. And that's why the financial architecture around him looks different. This isn't just about endorsement checks. It's about scalability. It's about revenue participation. It's about understanding that a contract is a starting point, not the ceiling. And here's the deeper layer nobody wants to admit. The more people question him, the stronger the brand grows. Controversy drives clicks. Debate drives attention. Attention drives demand. Demand drives money. Every viral moment adds fuel. Every criticism expands reach. Every "he's not that good" comment triggers another wave of supporters who buy the jersey, repost the clip, defend the narrative. That's not luck. That's ecosystem awareness. Meanwhile, the locker room culture in the NFL is shifting. Younger players are watching closely. They're seeing that draft round doesn't guarantee financial dominance anymore. They're realizing influence can outpace contract numbers. And when veterans and rising stars like Micah Parsons engage in these conversations publicly, it signals something bigger. The league is evolving in real time. The NXT generation of quarterbacks isn't just studying playbooks. They're studying ownership models. They're studying equity clauses. They're studying leverage. And if Shedeur's trajectory continues upward, both on the field and off, this moment will look small in hindsight. Because once regular season performances start stacking, once highlight throws turn into wins, once critics have fewer arguments to lean on, the financial structure already in place will multiply. That's the scary part. He hasn't even proven it fully on Sundays yet. And the business side is already operating at elite velocity. So when someone casually throws out the word broke, it reveals more about the speaker than the subject. Because real wealth doesn't announce itself. It moves strategically. It scales quietly. And it smiles when misunderstood. This league measures quarterbacks by touchdowns, passer ratings, and playoff wins. But the new era? It also measures vision, positioning, and ownership. And right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't just competing for a starting job. He's competing for long-term power. That's a different battlefield. And if this preseason moment is any indication, the NFL isn't ready for how calculated this next chapter might become. But here's where things get even more interesting. Because moments like this don't just disappear. They linger. They follow players into the season. They resurface when the lights get brighter. And now every snap Shedeur Sanders takes will carry extra weight. Not because of a joke, but because of what that joke represents. There's a certain psychology inside NFL locker rooms. Respect isn't given easily. It's earned through performance, preparation, and presence. And when someone questions you publicly, even casually, the league watches how you respond. Do you explode? Do you defend yourself? Or do you let your performance answer? Shedeur chose the third option. And that's where this story really shifts. Because if he steps onto the field this season and delivers, if he starts stacking efficient drives, late-game composure, and highlight throws, that broke clip instantly becomes motivational fuel. It becomes bulletin board material. It becomes part of the legend-building process. The NFL has seen this before. Quarterbacks doubted on draft night. Players labeled overhyped. Athletes questioned because of their last name. But when talent meets preparation, narratives collapse fast. And the business momentum already surrounding Shedeur adds another layer of pressure. When your name is moving merchandise, when your endorsements are structured strategically, when your brand is already global, expectations multiply. Fans don't just want potential. They want production. That's the next step. Because influence opens the door. Performance keeps it open. Right now, he's standing at the intersection of both. And here's the real tension nobody is saying out loud. If he succeeds early, the financial blueprint he's building becomes the new model for young quarterbacks entering the league. Equity over endorsements. Revenue splits over flat checks. Long-term leverage over short-term flexing. That changes conversations. Agents start negotiating differently. Brands start structuring differently. Rookies start thinking differently. That's impact beyond football. But if he struggles? If the transition takes time? If defenses adjust and he faces growing pains? The critics will be louder than ever. That's the gamble of visibility. When your spotlight is bigger, your mistakes look bigger too. And that's why composure matters. That calm smile in that viral moment wasn't just confidence. It was understanding the stakes. Understanding that in today's NFL, every camera angle can shape perception. Every comment can spark debate. Every reaction can shift momentum. And while others may chase the moment, Shedeur appears to be thinking several moves ahead. The league is watching. Fans are watching. Brands are watching. And when week 1 arrives, none of the boardroom strategies will matter without execution between the lines. That's the final proving ground. Because the empire is being built. But the foundation still has to hold on Sundays. And that's where this story truly enters its next chapter. The reality of professional football is that perception can shift faster than performance. And in today's hyperdigital NFL environment, a single comment can ripple across the league before a player even steps back onto the practice field. What happened in that room wasn't just an awkward exchange. It became a symbolic moment representing the evolving economics of modern athletes. For Shedeur Sanders, the broke remark wasn't damaging. It was revealing. It revealed how many people still operate under outdated assumptions about value. In older NFL eras, draft position dictated respect, salary defined status, and endorsements followed performance years later. That structure no longer holds absolute power. The modern quarterback enters the league with a pre-built digital footprint, an established audience, and a monetization engine that can activate instantly. Shedeur didn't stumble into that system accidentally. He was raised inside elite sports infrastructure under Deion Sanders, one of the most brand-conscious athletes in NFL history. That exposure created familiarity with cameras, negotiation leverage, and public narrative management long before draft night ever arrived. When critics try to minimize his financial positioning by referencing draft round, they overlook how athlete valuation models have shifted. Revenue streams are now layered: base contract salary, signing bonuses, incentive escalators, jersey revenue shares, endorsement structures, equity participation, licensing, social distribution partnerships, and appearance rights. Each stream compounds the next. The casual observer may compare rookie contracts and stop there. The informed observer understands that brand acceleration can surpass contract growth if structured properly. Shedeur's situation reflects this layered ecosystem. His presence trends digitally. His merchandise demand activates instantly. His conversations generate engagement metrics brands measure aggressively. That combination alone makes him a high-value marketing asset independent of depth chart status. In boardrooms, projected lifetime value often outweighs current roster placement. There is also a psychological edge embedded within composure. The NFL is filled with competitors who respond emotionally to public jabs. Emotional reactions often fuel viral cycles that spiral unpredictably. By remaining controlled, Shedeur positioned himself above the noise. That restraint signals maturity to executives, sponsors, and even teammates. When evaluating leadership potential in quarterbacks, franchises examine not only arm talent but emotional stability. Public composure under subtle pressure becomes part of that evaluation. The smile response clip circulated widely not because it was explosive, but because it was measured. That contrast amplifies intrigue. Silence often carries more weight than rebuttal. Meanwhile, the economic model of athlete influence is accelerating. Social amplification transforms moments into monetizable narratives. Supporters mobilize instantly. Jersey sales spike when controversy intersects with loyalty. Algorithms reward engagement, and engagement feeds visibility. Visibility attracts sponsors. Sponsors validate brand equity. Brand equity strengthens negotiation leverage. It is a continuous loop. The traditional separation between on-field value and off-field earnings has narrowed dramatically. Young quarterbacks entering the league today operate within a hybrid environment: part athlete, part media property, part scalable brand platform. Shedeur appears to understand that duality instinctively. What makes this situation particularly compelling is timing. He enters the NFL during a transitional phase where player empowerment conversations are more public than ever. NIL reforms in college athletics reshaped financial awareness among athletes before they even declare for the draft. That exposure cultivates negotiation literacy early. Instead of waiting to learn business fundamentals after signing a rookie contract, this generation studies deal structures while still in college. Equity discussions are normalized. Revenue participation clauses are understood. Intellectual property conversations occur alongside playbook study sessions. That shift produces athletes who approach contracts differently. But none of this guarantees legacy. The NFL remains unforgiving. Defensive coordinators do not care about endorsement portfolios. Blitz packages are not impressed by social media followings. Ultimately, quarterback valuation still hinges on performance under live pressure. That is the proving ground that stabilizes or destabilizes every narrative. If Shedeur delivers consistent, efficient football, smart reads, red zone execution, fourth quarter composure, the financial architecture already surrounding him multiplies exponentially. If inconsistency creeps in, critics will attempt to weaponize visibility against him. Visibility magnifies both triumph and struggle. That duality defines the modern star athlete. There is also a broader cultural dimension at play. Athletes carrying famous last names often navigate skepticism layered onto expectation. Being the son of Shedeur Sanders guarantees attention but also invites comparison. Comparisons are rarely balanced. They inflate pressure while shrinking margin for error. Handling that dynamic requires internal clarity. Public confidence must be anchored in preparation, not ego. The calm demeanor shown during that viral exchange suggests comfort within scrutiny rather than discomfort. That distinction matters. As the regular season approaches, each snap will function as both athletic evaluation and narrative reinforcement. Commentators will frame early performances through the lens of off-season moments. Teammates will observe leadership language in huddles. Front offices will analyze progression curves. Brands will monitor engagement to performance correlations. The ecosystem is interconnected. One strong game can recalibrate weeks of debate. One difficult stretch can reignite it. The margin between perception and proof narrows quickly in the NFL spotlight. What ultimately separates temporary attention from long-term power is sustainability. Sustainable influence requires consistency, on-field execution aligned with off-field discipline. If Shedeur aligns those elements, the trajectory could extend far beyond rookie expectations. If misalignment occurs, volatility increases. That tension is what makes this chapter compelling. It is not merely about a comment or a clip. It is about the intersection of generational branding, evolving athlete economics, inherited spotlight, and competitive validation. And perhaps that is the real story unfolding beneath the surface. Not whether someone labeled him broke. Not whether a joke landed poorly. But whether a new prototype quarterback is emerging. One who treats football excellence and financial architecture as parallel priorities rather than sequential ones. The NFL has always evolved strategically on the field. Now the evolution is accelerating off it. And right in the middle of that transformation stands Shedeur Sanders, balancing expectation, opportunity, and scrutiny with a smile that suggests he understands far more than he reveals.